morning. Today is Monday, October 13th, 2014, and this is Before the First Cup with Zorie and Lady Pitbull on UCY.TV. Good morning, lady.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, okay, for Monday. Mondays are supposed to be rotten, aren't they?
It's foggy and wet here, and what is it? It's 56 degrees.
It's just dark here. That's about
Dark
it.
and dry, right?
Yep, dark and dry with lots of leaves. Oh
And
my
lots
God.
of chemtrails. Damn, they were
Oh,
in here
jeez.
all day yesterday. It was such a beautiful day, but there was just giant fat lines that were just cruising across in the last night or yesterday. All day yesterday. It was just sick.
Yeah, it slowed down for a few days here, and then they just came back with a vengeance.
Yeah, yeah, it was just they were just crazy yesterday here.
Yeah, I seen another one make a U-turn, like they forgot their lunch, and
Oh my God.
you know, it's crazy. And I always have my camera with me when I go outside anymore because you never know. I mean, it's just nuts. And for the people that think that it's just commercial planes and, they're leaving, that's their exhaust, they can't cut their engines out and then turn them back on,
Right.
and
Be having planes falling from the skies.
right, and it's just crazy. And this guy, you get up, and I'm up early, so I get out there and it's beautiful in the morning. I mean, the mornings have been just, that perfect between summer and fall, that
Yeah.
really nice, cool, fresh feeling. And then by 11 o'clock, sky's gray.
Yeah. I mean, there's no
Mm.
blue left.
Uh-uh. And people just don't look up. I mean, people don't even, so many people don't even notice because they never look up. As simple as that.
Uh, it's I'm always looking up. I'm a bird watcher. I just naturally will look up. If I see a hawk, it's like, yeah. But
Uh,
I mean, how can you not notice the sky? I mean, come on. Are you that like brain freaking dead?
well, like in
Seriously?
the city, well, I think mostly in the city. I don't know if they're so busy or I don't know what it is.
People are so damn self-absorbed.
True. Well,
They can't even see
that's true.
their hand in front of their face.
Yeah. Man, it's just in my room. It's all got computer parts all over. My second motherboard went out.
Oh
No,
no.
I've never had this happen. My laptop motherboard went out. My and the other two computers, both motherboards went out. It's just strange. I don't know, but
Sorry to hear that. That's really a bad deal.
yeah, it is.
Jeez.
But yeah. Anyway, I didn't see much. Oh,
Wow.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. I gotta stop this plug in.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, and then I'm getting all these I don't know. It's just weird that all my computers are having these strange problems. And I've been working on computers for years, and I've never had anything like this happen.
They're attacking us because I had to like go through and waste like I mean, I think when it was when Drew's show came on yesterday, um my computer started just flipping out on me. And so I had to like shut everything off and like do the computer scans and all this crap. By the time it was done, Drew was over. So it just sucked for me yesterday.
Yeah, well, just now, it says a plugin is busy. So do you want to stop it or continue? And if you continue, it locks everything up.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, I don't know. It's just nuts, and it's so aggravating. Yeah, and the one computer that went out day before yesterday, that's my backup. I mean, it has all the stuff that I store. So,
That's bad deal.
yeah. Well, the hard drive's okay. It's just the motherboard. I can take it out and put it in another computer. But it's just a lot of work and money. Money, money, money.
Yeah, which is a bad deal too.
Yeah. It seems like every time I get a little bit saved up, something happens. Something's got to take it away again. So,
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it works. That's how the
yeah.
system set up actually is to drain everything from our coffers. And they're probably you know that they're because we're on with Jules, you know, they're launching their little attacks on our computers. You know they're doing it.
hmm I, and every time I see something that, like now Skype wants to update. Oh, have an upgrade that fixes everything. And,
Right.
I ain't going to do it but until finally they make you or they do it for you.
That's what they did to Jules.
Me too. So, I don't know. It's just weird, weird, weird. And who knows, with people that get updates, you don't know what they're putting on your machine. You don't know what any of them are.
I know. New software, new open mics. I mean, you don't know.
hmm
Maybe something to set you up. Some kind of weird computer virus that'll just set you up. And
Well, remember way back, it was almost about a year ago, I guess, where the feds were interrupting deliveries on computers and opening them and doing whatever and then closing them back up and sending them on their way.
yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
Kmart, I guess Kmart got attacked too. Like Kmart, hackers. Kmart got hacked.
you mean their computers?
Yeah, yeah. All
Yeah.
their information, everybody's credit cards and stuff.
That makes me wonder. I don't
Oh,
know.
really?
I
I've
never
been
see,
saying it from the get go.
yeah, all these hacks and stuff. I mean,
It's
and then you don't
bullshit.
hear about anything being charged to them or anything.
Right. Well,
I think
they're
it's
from
a
Russia.
fear.
They're so far away. They're in Russia. It's Russian
Okay. I
hackers.
thought it was India.
No, they're blaming it on Russia.
That's so crazy. Yeah, you got to blame someone. It's just like now the cases of Ebola. Obama's saying that, I mean, he's still not closing the airports. How much sense now? He can't say it's not in the country anymore.
I got
But then,
so much going on
like,
right now. I can't even
yeah,
deal with it.
yeah, but the worst part is, who do you believe? There are so many different conflicting stories out there.
Yeah.
So should you be afraid or should you not be afraid? Is he telling the truth or are they telling the truth? And you were saying something about Maddie sent you a clip?
Well, Maddie had a um he had a he posted it in the chat room. It was a video, and it totally shows CNN staging an Ebola sickness where a father brings his son, his like over 20-year-old son. Obviously, this dude was like, he was a young man, but not that young. And it shows the guy. They brought him to the clinic, and then it shows him rolling around on the ground, and there was not one little bead of sweat on the brow. The guy wasn't sick. You could see the dude wasn't sick, and then it shows like when the father was walking away after they accepted him into the clinic finally after this big rigmarole, and then it showed a guy in full freaking like in the full mop gear comes out of the so-called clinic, which is just like a piece of metal, like kind of put on like a swivel as a gate. You know what I mean? And this guy came. And so look, if you were a caregiver dealing with Ebola patients, you wouldn't walk outside the clinic and start talking to the public, would you? If you had
I
Ebola
wouldn't
all
think
over
so.
you, I mean, really? And so this asshole just walks out and talks to the people there that were standing outside the gate, and then it shows it shows the father walking away, and he had a big old chunk of cash in his hand. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So I think I thought about it for a little while, right? And I think that they're purposely putting out their obvious disinfo. I mean, if you're that stupid to put out a video like this and, like, make it some big, heart-wrenching story. It seems like you do a better job, or B, do it for disinformation purposes. Two, let everybody go, oh look, he pulled us a hoax, and let their guard down so that they don't prepare. I think it's a double-edged sword both way, guys. I think the what's going down is fairly real. I think I kind of agree with Jules. Thanks, Maddie. I think he just posted that.
Yeah, he has it up there. Yeah, and
No, he's gonna grab the one.
yeah, and the thing is too, if it was, I don't know, because now they say they have a possible case of someone having it on a plane that already left JFK for LAX.
Oh, that's nice. So we got to get it on the West Coast now. Well,
Uh-huh.
of
And
course.
that's what I've always wondered. They're not doing anything from, okay, so people are coming from Africa or the countries that are supposed to be stricken with Ebola, but they're letting them get on other planes and coming to other states. So, and this lady, she didn't appear to be too sick, but they're being cautious, and another thing that makes you wonder, okay, this virus is supposed to make you bleed out of all your orifices and stuff, but I don't hear anything about any of these patients bleeding.
Well, I can't tell you about that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
However,
I was talking to my friend that's been a nurse for 25 years. She was here yesterday and she goes, that's right because of the type of virus it is. And all we hear about is fever and vomiting, you know, but we don't hear nothing about bleeding. And that's
well,
what this is all supposed to be all about. So I don't get that.
well, here's the weird thing that I was thinking about. The worker, a caretaker, like a nursing assistant, I believe, who was taking care of the guy who died in Dallas, right? Came down with it, even though they were fully geared up when dealing with this patient. So, and she still got sick. So, um, my question is, if this worker got sick and there was people like the ambulance guys that took him in, um, the niece or the stepdaughter or whoever the hell that was that they sent back to work as a nursing assistant, and she exhibited symptoms yet? I mean, the timeline's not really matching here. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and why aren't more people infected that came in contact with him? And
Yeah, that's my question right there. That's my question.
yeah, and the cleaning crew. I was watching a video yesterday where they don't have anything on. They're dressed
No,
just as regular people.
yeah, they were freaking just power washing the puke uh, just off the sidewalk and into the grass, right? So they were spreading it around. I mean, I'm sure it was there for a few days, so perhaps it killed the virus, just being, exposed to oxygen like that. So oxygen will kill this thing, man. Um,
It's crazy, I mean, and then what do you believe? That
right,
leaves everybody in this state of confusion, which I think they want, you
right.
know, and
Center for
what is
Disease.
it a distraction from?
It's right. Center for Disease Confusion. That's what it's.
I know, and I mean that is these people's only purpose. Their one purpose is this exactly what's going on, and they are not prepared. What have they been doing all this time?
Right. I'm wondering why these other people that were exposed before this healthcare worker, why are they not sick? The dude died on October 6th.
Right, and on the airplane in all those people.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a huge point. And those people would have had that, 10-day window of from when they're exposed, or 21-day window. They're past that. And I
Right,
haven't heard anything about anybody else other than this person who took care of him directly.
right, and she was in a cabinet suit, and she gets infected, but yet all these other people that he came in contact with,
No protection.
nothing.
What about the dude's his girlfriend? You know what I mean? What about her? She came in
Right.
contact with him. She was sleeping in the she was still sleeping in the damn sheets after her and her daughter sprayed it down with bleach, and they didn't even change the fucking the sheets off the bed.
And I'm sure they kissed when he got home.
Oh,
So
dude.
there's your
Seriously? Seriously. So why, where in the hell is she? That's what I want to know. Or perhaps, maybe they're not telling us of these people that are starting to get sick en masse, and they're just not telling us, and they're just running around collecting them and disappearing them.
see.
Also a possibility as well.
Yeah, I mean there's so many, and you listen to so many expert medical professionals, and one will say one thing and another will say another thing, and they're supposed to both be reputable, but yet it's all up in the air with this thing.
All right, are you ready for this? I'm gonna
I
drop
don't
this
know. Am I? Is
little
it
hand
Monday?
grenade. I'm gonna lob a hand grenade at everybody right now.
Okay.
Regardless of whether this thing is or is not happening. Okay?
Okay.
Connecticut has declared in state of public health emergency and prepares for quarantine.
Wow, somebody with some sense.
Well, hang on a minute. Hold the phone, Zorie. Hang
Oh.
on. Hartford, Connecticut. Governor Daniel, yeah, it says Daniel Malloy, or Malloy, has declared Connecticut to be in a state of public health emergency, enabling the indefinite suspension of certain civil rights. State
Whoa.
bureaucracies have been granted the broad authority to forcibly detain suspected sick people without due process. The declaration came preemptively, as Connecticut has not yet seen a single case of the virus it purports to stop. The governor's October 7th declaration reads as follows. So this was last week, guys.
Wow.
It says, in response to the epidemic of the Ebola virus currently affecting multiple countries in Western Africa, and in order to provide the Commissioner of Public Health and other appropriate officials with all authorities necessary to prevent any potential transmission of the Ebola virus within the state of Connecticut, I hereby declare a public health emergency for the state, pursuant to the Connecticut General Statute, Section 19A-131A, for the duration of the epidemic.
But they're saying this could go on forever.
Specifically, in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes 19A-131B, I authorize the Commissioner of Public Health to order the isolation or quarantine under conditions prescribed by the Commissioner of Public Health of any individual or group of individuals whom the Commissioner reasonably believes to have been exposed to, infected with, or otherwise at risk of passing the Ebola virus. Governor Daniel P. Malloy, October 7th, 2014.
Wow, that is the beginning of martial law, folks.
That's the beginning of martial law, folks. Rationalizing his actions, the governor said in a statement, "We need to have the authorities in place that will allow us to move quickly to protect public health, and if and when that becomes necessary. Signing this order will allow us to do that." The recipient of most of the newly imparted power is Jewel Mullen, Connecticut's Commissioner of the Public Health Department. By having this measure in place, Commissioner Mullen explained, we won't have to scramble in the event I need to take action. The actions that authorities might want to scramble to use is the forcible quarantine of citizens without charges or trial. Connecticut, Connecticut, yes, FEMA camps, absolutely FEMA camps. They're ready to go. Connecticut General Statute Section 19A-131A spells out the powers that may be used during the state of public health emergency. It says, this is what the statute says. Guys, I'm reading the actual statute. While the emergency exists, the state may do the following. 1. Order the commissioner to implement all or a portion of the public health emergency response plan developed pursuant to Section 19A-31G. 2. Authorize the commissioners to isolate or quarantine persons in accordance with those statutes. 3. Order the commissioner to vaccinate persons in accordance with Section 19A-131E, or 4. Apply and receive federal assistance. As noted above, the commissioner may issue an order of mass vaccinations at his or her discretion. Section 19A-131D states that any individual who refuses to comply with any portion of the order may be punished with fines and imprisonment for up to 1 year. Here we go, guys. Take off your martial law hats, because it's here. Fending off a police state requires constant vigilant efforts to desecrate civil liberties, as the current scenario has shown us. A climate of fear of disease, terrorism, foreign threats, etc. makes it all too easy to suspend constitutional rights with minimal public resistance. Many people actually feel grateful to see the government absorbing greater powers taken with the promises of keeping them safe. The state of public health emergency will remain in effect indefinitely until uplifted by the governor.
Damn, that's what we've been talking about all along.
So wonderful. It doesn't everybody. Happy Monday morning, everyone.
Wow.
Welcome to the fucking police state.
This is the scariest thing I've heard so far.
Yeah.
It really is, because which state's going to be next? And they don't even have
They're all
a
going to fucking fall in line, and then it's all going to be enforced by the NDAA, which is federal. So, I mean, it's like a two-pronged effect here. Remember what I keep saying this whole time? It's a multifaceted, multi-pronged attack.
Yep, and just like that one executive order that combines the 10 executive orders into one, that makes it all possible to put in effect at once, just like you were saying, forced vaccinations, internment camps, or whatever you want, FEMA camps, whatever you want to call them, isolating them. They don't have no rights, their rights are suspended. That's everything that's in that one executive order.
Right.
Well, does it go on?
Nope, that's it.
Yeah, that's
pretty freaking hardcore, eh? How about some hardcore for your breakfast, people?
And they don't even have any known cases of it.
No. They just want to be able to take any kind of action necessary, and apparently they're ready to do so. And when one state does it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering what the people inside the state are saying. I'm sure some of them are saying, oh, good, our state's trying to protect us.
Sure.
But I'm sure there's people there that are going, what the hell?
Yeah.
And you won't be allowed to leave. And they probably won't they won't be letting reporters or people in. So they're saying, what, did they cut off our flights too, I wonder?
Didn't say that.
But if the whole state is in a state of an emergency.
It didn't say anything about cutting off flights to Connecticut.
Just taking off people's rights and forced inoculations and.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank Maddie for posting that video.
Yes, thank you, Maddie. Wow, and that's all it said.
That's it. That's as far as it went. I mean, I could probably find other. Let me try and find. I'll try and find other.
Yeah, and you know what? The executive order that combines all 10 I have that on my other computer that just died, and I
Oh,
wanted to
jeez.
do that because it gives 10 executive orders all combined together where it says, like, they can take over transportation, they can take over your home, they can, I mean, take over all food. It's one of the scariest things. I remember when one of my first shows on when Jules was on vacation, we covered it.
Right. Oh, I
Mm,
found here it is. Here's a local Connecticut newspaper here.
okay, what did they?
Connecticut governor declares state of emergency over Ebola as a precaution. The order gives the state the authority to quarantine and isolate people who have been exposed to the virus. Um,
But they wouldn't need to de declare a state of emergency to do that because they can do that already. So why?
let's see. Connecticut Governor Daniel Malloy has declared a public health emergency for the state as a precaution during the Ebola epidemic that is affecting several countries in Western Africa. He signed the order declaring the emergency on Tuesday, which was October 7th, and it gives the commissioner of the State Department of Public Health the authority to quarantine and isolate people whom the commissioner reasonably believes has been exposed to the virus. Now, I read the story not out of a local, because the local news is going to cushion it. I read like a police state article, like from actually, where did I read that? Police State USA. So they have the actual police state slant on it, whereas the local article is not going to have that slant on it. So it's just going to cush it and like, oh look, here comes the state. We're here to save you. Um, so that's
Right, and they're not going to mention that you have no constitutional rights during this.
no, they're not going to say that. They're not going to say that at all. They're going to paint it as, look, we're taking precautions. See, it's just a precautionary measure.
Mm.
Little do everybody else in Connecticut know that they're warming up the FEMA camps right now. I mean, what the hell? Here it goes. All right, I'm going to
You know,
post this in the chat room.
yeah, and why would they have to declare an emergency, uh, national emergency when the CDC already has those powers to quarantine, people if they're seen to have any symptoms?
Right. Well, there
So
it is. I mean, he's got it. He's oh, let's see. Well, I should probably read this because it
yes,
might
please.
answer your question about about the airports. Okay, let's see. Obama's ready to ramp up airport screening. Yeah, right. Malloy said this is not in response to any specific case, but is meant to provide state health officials with the authority necessary to prevent any potential transmission of the Ebola virus within the state of Connecticut, the letter says. We are taking action this day to ensure that we are prepared in advance to deal with any identified cases in which someone has been exposed to the virus or, in the worst case, infected. Malloy said in a statement, our state's hospitals have been preparing for it, and public health officials from the state are working around the clock to monitor the situation. Right now, we have no reason to think that anyone in the state is infected or at risk of infection, but it is essential to take your rights. It is essential to be prepared, and we need to have the authorities in place that will allow us to move quickly to protect public health. And if and when that becomes necessary, signing this order will allow us to do that. I already read that. I read that in the last damn article. Without the declaration of emergency, officials have no. Here it is. Officials have no statewide ability to isolate or quarantine people who might have been exposed or infected. Instead, each individual local public health director would have the authority according to the governor's office. While local health officials are certainly on the front lines of this effort, at the ready to address any situation. Having this order in place will allow us to have a more coordinated response in the event that someone in Connecticut either tests positive for Ebola or has been identified as someone who is at risk of developing it. DPH Commissioner Jewel Mullen said in a statement, I already read this too. We've had numerous conversations with both local and public health officials in the state and senior officials at the Center for Disease Control. We have no reason to believe that anyone in Connecticut is infected or at risk of infection, but if it does happen, we want to be ready. Blah, 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 blah. Massachusetts government Devil Patrick's office said that the laws in the Bay State are different than Connecticut. Well, that's interesting. So a state of emergency is not needed. Here you go, Zorie. You just said that. So a state of emergency is not needed to give the state health commissioner the authority to quarantine and isolate people believed to have been exposed to the Ebola virus. That's exactly what you just said. You there?
Yeah, so
that's exactly what you just said. You just said that, and there it is right there. So that's pretty hardcore. Well, let me just, it's almost 2 more paragraphs, all right?
Okay.
All right, similarly, New Hampshire does not have to declare a state of emergency to have the authority to quarantine suspected Ebola cases or carriers, according to Governor Maggie Hassan's office. William Hinkle, Hassan's press secretary, said state health and emergency management officials continue to closely monitor the issue and communicate with healthcare providers, providing informational materials to hospitals, paramedics, and other medical professionals about what to look for and how to appropriately respond to suspected cases. Governor Hassan also remains in close contact with officials, and we will continue to evaluate the situation, but at this point, public health officials in New Hampshire do not believe they need an emergency declaration, he said. Wow. So bam, bam, bam. That's a different state.
But still, yeah.
Still, I mean, seriously, he doesn't have to declare a state of emergency in order to take fucking action. And I don't think there's a state in this union that requires a state of emergency to take action. I mean, what the hell? What the hell's the matter with this freaking governor?
Right, and the people that live there should be asking questions, because how are you taking away my rights?
I'd be freaking the fuck out right now. I'd be like, hey man, what the hell? No way. Isn't that cool? I mean, yeah. I'd be tweaking if freaking Herr Schneider did that here.
Right, people got to be asking questions. People got, yeah, they're taking away their rights when there's no reason for it, because they already have the authority to do what they're saying they are calling the national emergency for. So, yeah, that's really fishy, and I would be watching very closely the next few days, and let's see, because their excuse is going to be, well, the federal government isn't doing their job, so we're going to do this, which puts the federal government in charge, really.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. Mm-hmm. You hit it right on the head inadvertently there, but that's absolutely it. Dude, it's this is definitely going to hopefully the other states around there, like the New Hampshire governor, kudos to that guy. Hopefully, because New Hampshire's like the freaking free state, so.
And look, they're picking on the smaller states to start it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think Connecticut's governor is quite under their dark wings, all nestled under the seedy underbelly of the scumbags.
Wow, that's...
The dark bird is about to lay on us and lay a big old egg.
That just floors me, because the one thing that I've been saying all along is watch out for this one, and it's called, the executive order is supposed to be that combines the 10. They explicitly said in there that it could be declared under a national emergency. It didn't say anything about martial law in the first part. It was to be declared a national emergency and not to be called by the president, but by what was it? The one there's one person put in charge to able to declare this national emergency, which would bring in martial law. But they word it different, and this is following everything that said. It's just, and they say it's so that they can act swiftly.
Yeah. Where's this from?
That's from the I'm trying to find it. I wish my other computer was up. It's an executive order that really defines martial law completely. It's like these 10 exec orders, each one covers a certain area, like all of transportation.
Oh yeah. George Bush did that. It's the Patriot Act.
No. This is even different than the Patriot Act.
Oh.
Well, it includes it, I guess. I'm not sure.
It's got to be within the Patriot Act.
But what it does is they don't have
correctly.
to declare each exec order separately. They can do it with this one that just really takes over everything. And in fact, one of them says in there that they would have the ability to split up families if they were needed in different areas. You know, it's one of the scariest things I've read that just really, and this is like the start of it.
Well, this is the start of it. I mean, and it's so weird because I think that guy died on October 6th, and so the 7th, oh look, there's martial law being declared in a state, medical martial law. I mean, it's not real martial law, it's medical martial law. They can implement it any time now. And
it's a national emergency, so that covers everything.
And it's being declared indefinitely.
Right. Well, you keep hearing them say if the virus does get here, it could be with us forever. Just like our war on terrorists.
Right. So don't believe that. I don't believe that. I mean, no disease has been with us forever. I mean, maybe the common cold. I mean,
right.
I don't know.
All the plagues eventually work their way out.
Right.
And at the cost of many lives, but nothing that stayed other than the common cold.
The only way it would remain forever is if they continue to run around infecting everybody. Like little Ebola fairies that they are.
Wow. This has me floored. I mean, the one thing, I really wonder. I wish we had someone in chat or something that lived there, because I'm wondering how they're really putting it out to most of the people. I mean, I'm sure they're not saying, well, you don't have any constitutional rights now.
Oh, they're not saying that. They'll never admit that. They'll never admit that. What will happen is that it's a creeping police state. You know what I mean?
Like you said, we're protecting you.
Incremental police state. It's a slow, like creeping, like maggot infested, tidal wave of destruction.
Yeah, it wow. And they're putting it out there, I'm sure, as well. If the president won't protect my people, I will. Which takes it off Obama's back.
Translates in, we're just protecting ourselves.
Right, and people are frustrated with Obama's lack of action, and so this even makes it sound more reasonable.
If you have enough money, you can get their little vaccination. You got to pay for that shit though right now. Pay big bucks. I'm sure. You know what I mean? I mean, if you got the money, they'll give them the clean one too. If you have enough money, you can buy the clean vaccine that doesn't have all the crap in it. They've got it. They've got it.
Yeah, they do.
They've got warehouses of it stored that are tainted with the with all the RNAi crap. You know what I mean? That we always talk about.
Yeah, it's just I'm flabbergasted. I just that is everything that we have been talking about for the last few years.
This is the
Is
trigger. This is the trigger. We've just witnessed it. And I said it like it was a melancholy birthday for me last week. I mean, I'm just like going, this is it, man. This guy's dead. This is like the pebble. I know I said it. This is the pebble in the pond. You know, with the ripples crossing the entire pond. I mean, that's it. Here it comes.
wow. Yeah.
Everything we've been talking about that we've been labeled, ooh, conspiracy theorists, ooh, you know, ooh, what a weirdo. You think that way? Ew, you know what I mean? Everything we've been saying for all these fucking years, through Oklahoma, through 9/11, up till now, is coming total true.
Wow. Yep. It's I don't know. It's just wow.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to force us to take fucking nanotech in the vaccines, man. They're going to turn us into fucking robots. That's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing, and rewrite our fucking DNA. That's what they're terraforming us. Our skies are being terraformed, and then we're next on the fucking list to be terraformed, turn into little robots. Humanity is almost gone. If this fucking thing goes through, pretty much done. I feel so bad for the generations coming up, man. Damn.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time. I mean, we can still fight this back, you know, we could keep talking about it. You know, at least our voices, we're talking about it, and at least it's going into the ether out there.
Yeah, we got people that have them look outside the box,
Mm-hmm. They're never going to stop our voice print now from going out into the universe. Shit.
Man,
it's just pretty amazing. I mean, the main thing is don't live in fear. That's the main thing. We can talk about it all day long, and we can't feed the fucking energy. We can't feed the fucking beast. That's how we're gonna beat it.
Now I'm wondering, if you lived in Maine, I wonder if you can leave the state. You know, people.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, if there is a state of emergency declared, I mean, wouldn't you think that naturally the airports would get shut down? I mean, is he like not? Is this guy kind of letting some of that provisions go that's in the declaration of emergency, or is he, you know what I mean? Is he following the entire thing to the letter? You know, right? Because there's got to be something about transportation in there.
What was the executive? Do you still have that one up?
Absolutely. I said
what
it,
was that?
Times. It's okay. So it's called.
Okay.
You can put this in the search engine.
Right.
Connecticut General Statute Section 19A to 131B.
To 131B.
Or 131A, and there's a bunch of them. There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. There's a bunch of them
that he put into effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so these aren't executive orders? Are these just statutes? Wait, read that one part again.
It's called the Connecticut General Statutes Section.
Okay. So that isn't exactly the executive orders. It's a
It's the general statutes of what to do in case the governor declares these statutes to be enacted. Mm-hmm. Connecticut General Statutes. Let's see. The commission.
See, what I'm wondering is if it's a state thing or
it's a state thing. It's a state thing.
Okay.
This is all under Connecticut.
Statutes. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Okay. But I mean, the
Yes.
next thing would to me would be federal.
Well, right. Yeah, this has nothing to do. This is the Connecticut Department of Health,
Uh huh.
and each state has their own Department of Health.
Right.
The
But it's an
federal
open
one,
door for the federal.
the federal one is the NDAA. That's the federal level of this. This is the state level. The Connecticut state level is what
Mhm.
these are.
Well, maybe everybody should look into their own states and see what
Yes,
powers they have.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. If every state is different. And then if a couple states or a few states do it, well, then they might just say, well, then why don't we just declare a national emergency for the whole country and
Right, that's how it's
do
going
it?
to work. That's exactly how it's going to work.
Yep. And to protect us from ISIS that they say is
And they're going to
here.
door-to-door vaccinations.
Right. And they can come into your house anytime they want to
Yeah.
see if you're sick, to
If
take
it's
your
a state of
temperature.
emergency, they can come into your home. Yes. No warrants, no nothing. It's going to be a fucking shootout. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And who are they going to do that? Who are they going to get to do this shit? The local cops? No,
Yeah, state and federal agencies will do it.
they don't have enough. They don't have enough manpower. Period. They don't. Not to execute like door-to-door vaccinations. I mean, they just don't have enough manpower.
But look at how they've been militarized with all this equipment. How funny, just in time, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. It is just in time. Just like those FEMA coffins are just in time. Just like them ordering things for these
and look at all the
manning the FEMA camps. They're manning. They got all their supplies now there. Blah 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 blah. I mean,
they're
arming. Was coming.
They're arming all the agencies. Look at all that ammo. Remember they bought?
Right.
Right down to Social Security.
They were prepared for this. They're prepared for it to kill a lot of people. That's how they knew that it was coming, right? I mean, the Georgia Guidestones. I mean, it set it right on that thing, didn't it?
Yep, all the dots are coming together.
It is. Everything's coming together quite nicely for them. Their plan has been enacted. And it's in motion right now.
Yeah, when we get off air, I'm going to look up California statutes on this.
They want civil unrest. They want civil unrest. They want people to go nuts and start shooting each other because that's less that they have to kill. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to start race wars. They're going to start.
Well, Ferguson's still going on. Thousands of people
still going
came out.
on right now. Absolutely, the cops just shot another teenager. So it's it's on. It's on. It's all this cauldron is boiling properly for the upcoming freaking Samhain, Samhain, satanic. It's all they're gonna have. Oh my god, this is gonna be a big one for them. Big celebration coming up, fuckers. You bastards. Unimaginable bastards.
Wow.
Well, I hope you and your families get hit with this too.
Yeah, when the police finally realize that they're not on, they're not any different than the rest of us.
Being used as fodder.
Mm-hmm.
Just like everyone else. That's what the Soviets did. They used their police force, and then what did they do at the end? They threw those guys on the top of the heap. After they killed them. They killed their own guys, and that's what they always do. That's what they do.
Wow, this is just like my head's just whirling. Everything that, all the dots just, and then, leave everybody in mass confusion about, is it dangerous? Is it coming? Is it not coming? And so they're not going to be paying attention to this other stuff.
Right, and you throw everybody off the trail by making really, really bad videos of them paying crisis actors. I mean, you know what I mean? Gonna look at that and go, look, it's all staged. And then, bam, you get hit by Ebola. I mean, that's what's going on. It's like that's just another tactical distraction, I think, from what's really going on. And But I mean, hey, I mean, I hope I'm wrong about that. I really do. I hope I am.
I don't know. It's pretty blatant.
I'd say.
Wow. Yeah. Whew. And you know that their big reasoning for doing it would be because the president isn't doing anything, so we will. And
Right.
then just on and on. And all these distractions. We have that flu that is hit over 44 states now where it's attacking children. We have Ebola. We have terrorists. We have our open borders. We have our open international flights. We have so many avenues to look at here that, you know, who no one can pay attention to all of it. And Ferguson, we have riots going on. We have police brutality going on in every state, you know, and if you're not watching, like, how many people are going to read that article about
Which,
Connecticut, you know?
oh yeah. Well, I'm glad I read it.
I am too. Wow. Yeah, this is just getting. So what do we do? I mean, you can't. Where do you go? What do you do? I mean, just sit back and watch it come to you.
That's a good question.
I mean, there's no place to run, and they're easing it in. See, this way they're gonna meet up with less, uh, you know, less. I lost the word. Uh, look, come on, Dodie. Um, with less resistance because of the way they're bringing it in. Just like, you know, unless you're really on your toes, people aren't going to resist this because they think the government's protecting them.
Right. Exactly. And that's specifically what I was saying earlier.
And I wonder, I bet they aren't announcing this. I mean, you know, it's probably in their paper, but a lot of people don't read the paper for one thing. And, you know, so a lot of people really in Connecticut probably don't even know this is going on.
Oh, it's
So,
bad.
well, yeah, I've been trying to find that executive order that puts into play all the agencies at once, but I'm gonna have to get a computer up and running. But jeez,
Okay. Sorry.
oh, that's okay.
I had a little fit there. Yikes, sorry. All right. Where do we go from here?
Oh, jeez, I don't know. I just, I'm still, you know, it's just blowing my mind after, you know, talking about this and trying to get people to pay attention to it, and then to see it actually. I didn't think it happened in my lifetime,
Oh,
really.
I knew it was going to happen in my lifetime. Even when I was young, I always just had this feeling like about the future. I just ever since I was very very young,
Uh,
I've just kind of always been predisposed like the feeling like I was going to have to survive somehow in the future and I need to learn how to do it, or I've always had the mindset like that. It was just kind of
yeah, I've always been
self-taught.
yeah, my dad always said, you know, I mean, all my life he said, don't ever depend on anyone else to take care of you.
That's
And
right. That's
yeah,
exactly
and so I
correct.
always have been rather, you know, uh, independent in that way. You know, learning how to protect myself, learning about living in the woods, learning things all through my life.
Alaska sounds pretty good right now.
Yeah,
Alaska.
even Russia.
Shit.
I know, but you know, I mean, and then there's two. They're warning us about Russia, and you know, and China getting together. I mean, how much fear mongering can one person take?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what the thing is too. It's fear porn overload, and it's to keep everybody in a state of trauma-based mind control. So
And a lot of people are terrified right now. People are staying in their homes. People aren't going out, and and they're afraid to, be around other people. And there's good
absolutely,
reason.
absolutely. I mean, if I was in Texas, I really wouldn't want to be.
Anywhere.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's really
Cuz you don't know who's come in contact with any of those people, and so therefore it's the divide and conquer.
there was a Dallas football game last weekend or some shit, and I wouldn't have wanted to go there.
I wonder if they were sold out. Well, yeah, cuz the man, uh mainstream doesn't really, I don't know, they're putting out different signals, but you know most people don't even pay attention to the news anymore. We found that out from those surveys that different people have taken.
Right.
Anything to do with politics. Oh, I'm not interested in politics. I don't follow politics. Oh, I don't care about that. you know
Well, it's all going to come up and bite you in the ass, believe it or not. And that's the thing. And you have that mindset or whatever, and you're just not looking around. You're not looking up at the chemtrails. You're not. You're just self-absorbed. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, football, sports, they don't watch news, they watch sports. Or if they do watch the news, they're only watching it to hear about the sports.
Holy crap! Let me tell you something. Going into Ann Arbor, Michigan, at during and after and before a U of M game, when those guys win, when the team wins, yay, yay, when they win, the after party is like on the entire campus now. I mean, the entire campus just becomes one giant frat house and sorority house. And it's just drunk assholes bopping from keg to keg to keg, house to house to house, and it's retarded. And these kids, these college kids, are just completely. They're nothing but partiers. They're not there to study or learn anything. They're just being, you know, and they're not even caring about any of this crap. They don't care. Um, they're part of the zombie hordes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder how other countries are handling this because they're affected too. I wonder, have you heard of any other countries closing down their international flights or anything?
Yeah, there was like I think 32 of them, and they did it um a month and a half ago. Or no, they
Wow.
did it like months ago. This was been since what, May, March or May?
Hmm.
Yeah, they did it months ago. Like the UK said no, no. There was a bunch of European states that said hell no, no more planes from Africa.
Wow. And here we are, open arms as usual.
Oh yeah, we're the only ones really that haven't. So everybody's like desperately trying to get here. I don't know, man.
Then you also have, the people coming over the border and them putting them on buses going to every state in the United States. And
Absolutely.
who's to say it hasn't affected anyone down there?
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and
I
not
want
even
this to
Ebola. We
happen.
don't even need to be talking about Ebola in that situation because they're bringing in all the other crap,
Hmm.
the antibacterial
TB,
resistant TB.
tuberculosis,
Yeah,
and all that.
yeah. And then any number of other um parasites and diseases with them too.
Right. And I heard they were supposed to be building a place to quarantine people, but they're starting now after they've sent people to every state in the United States.
It's really weird how it seems like with all these things in play,
Hmm.
why in the hell haven't we heard of more outbreak?
Yeah, I mean, two people and since March, and another thing, I, I don't know. The first thing you do when there's something like this would be close your borders, but no, we're sending our troops out of the country.
Yeah, we're sending it to the so maybe I don't know. Perhaps it could fit with that this is all a hoax. It could fit within the parameters because my questions, it seems as though, when I think about it, really, it does seem like they could be just hoaxing this whole thing, and ramming it up and staging it. It could be that, because I mean, it seems as though with all of these things, like I just said, in play, such as the open borders and planes not being cut off from Africa, it seems like it would be here and spreading, don't you? I mean, when you
And if it was real, would these politicians be out there campaigning if there's this real danger of coming in contact with it?
right.
They're not slowing down at all. They're out shaking everybody's hands and giving speeches. And so, if it was real, would they be doing that?
Probably not.
Yeah.
So these things do beg the question. And I'm not saying either way, I guess. At this point, it does seem like there's an awful lot of things that are full of
They
freaking
don't
holes
add up.
here. No, they don't add up
Right.
at all.
I believe people are sick.
I want to know where the hell that guy's family is. I want to know where all those people are and what happened to that deputy.
Yeah, and then they said, "Oh, well, there might be a second deputy," but then, and they do that. They make an announcement like that, and then they don't follow up.
Right. So
So,
what happened to the damn deputy? I want what's going on here? Are they shutting everything like now they're keeping it hush hush? So like remember when they did that when it first went into Sierra Leone? They
mhm,
announced it and then they were like, "Oh, hush hush hush," while it quietly spread. I mean,
mhm.
they're doing the same shit here.
And people's
Letting it
attention span
spread.
is so short, and they can
Yeah,
be distracted so quickly.
right.
All you have to do is put it and out into the newscaster's mouth and bring something else up real big. Like, okay, then they'll bring Ferguson back into the right, headlines and everything, and then kind of ease their way away from Ebola. That's what I'm waiting for. To all of a sudden not, and that's what they do. All of a sudden you go looking for a story on Ebola, and no, it's something else. So
Who knows which way this is going to go? I think it's going to go um south pretty quick.
yeah, I don't know. We could
That's just
theorize all day long, but it's good to theorize because you want to be watching out for all the signs that because they always repeat their scenarios, right?
yes,
Always.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because remember that that started in Mexico that they said was going to be a pandemic, and that's all every news station was talking about it for
Up
about 2, 3 weeks.
H1N1, they did the same shit
Yep.
there. And the
Then
swine
it
flu.
just disappeared.
Mm.
So it'll be
That's the
curious.
reason. Well, this is the reason why they did that to us, so that they lie to us about this big pandemic and oh my god all these people are dying and then they don't say anything and nothing really happens, so they do that enough to us. It's like the boy who cried wolf. We won't believe them when a real situation comes up. That's the thing.
And also, it's letting them put more and more restrictions on us more executive orders and more agencies to be in charge of this and that. And everybody just kind of, goes
Right.
along with it because they're trying to protect us.
To dumb down and complacency when they've hit us with all these false alarms, right?
Hmm.
Then when they hit us with the real thing, everybody's so dumbed down and go, "Oh, okay, we'll accept whatever you put forth to protect us," and that's what's
Like
happening
Connecticut's
now.
doing.
That's like right what Connecticut's doing. So, this is definitely by design. All those little scares, swine flu scare and H1N1, and oh my God, look, yeah, it's it's quite obvious what's happening.
To some people, but others, they don't even have a clue.
Not at all.
Yeah. I would,
This could be also just a beta test for
well, yeah.
like for when they really decide to go ahead and release some shit. This could be just all a beta test as well.
That's true.
So,
I,
I mean, it. Who knows? you know. Oh my God.
yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I would like to get I wish we had some way of finding out the public's reaction to what, has been placed upon them. Because, like, when you read it, remember, did you hear what I said? Oh, finally, someone using their common sense.
Right, that was your first reaction.
Right. And so, just from the headlines,
Yeah,
a lot of people only read the headlines.
right. Exactly.
So,
So it's very ambiguous. Um, and apparently, um,
what they
and,
say, who was it that stated that they'll take control, but we'll beg them for to take away our rights.
huh?
There was something said to the effect that uh, when the New World Order uh, takes away our rights, people won't fight them. They'll beg them to do it to keep them safe.
Right.
I can't remember who said it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's part of the plan. That's all I know. And we're all just pawns, and there's really, I don't know. Just talking about it, though, I think is not
Important.
really
You
enough.
gotta. It's a start. I mean,
Start
and
something,
get it out wherever you can.
right?
You know, and point out the dangers in this.
It is, though. I mean, Lori was talking about it, like, I think in the Bree Rod just before we came on air. She's like, even if whatever it is, even if it's a hoax, even if it's this, even if it's that, you better get your gear now before the rush is on. So, you know what I mean?
Right. Start getting. Don't wait till the last minute
Right.
because and I was listening to this guy on Coast to Coast the other night, and he's saying this is going to come down real quickly on us because
Hmm.
he was stating like we are. There's too many things being set up in the background here,
Right.
and people better be aware because and the economy, it's the dollar's ready to fall, and
Yeah,
when it does,
they've pulled the rug out.
mm-hmm,
We're
you
in the
know.
middle of it, like right now. It's not all out yet, but it's getting pulled.
But look, a superpower like Russia, they stopped using the U.S.
Oh
dollar.
yeah, well they've got
Hmm.
their own banking system now, so
Right, and then China along with them. We
yep.
are, we are not the leader in the financial world anymore.
Nope, and the banksters are having a shit fit right now. They're having a
Hmm.
little tantrum, and they're just pushing all their little buttons in a giggling fit.
Right,
What they're
and we
doing,
have nothing to back our money, nothing, and they
and
know this.
there's a shitload of infighting too.
Hmm.
There's a ton of infighting. I've got actually I've got a article about that.
Oh, good.
Um, this is from yesterday. Hey, what do you know about that? This is Dick Morris. Clinton orchestrated Panetta's hit on Obama. So here's the infighting, you guys. Um, Political strategist Dick Morris accused Hillary Clinton of conspiring with former Defense Secretary Leon Panetta in his stinging critique of President Obama's foreign policy. I think Hillary put him up to it. Morris said in an interview with John Castamista's radio show to air this Sunday on New York's 970 AM. It says what Panetta is doing is a hit, a contract killing for Hillary. Panetta is at the core. Panetta at core is a Clinton person, not an Obama person. By accurately and truthfully describing the deliberations in the Obama cabinet, he makes Hillary look better and he makes Obama look worse. And I think he'll get his reward in heaven. Oh my God. Panetta made headlines earlier this week when he said the president has been too willing to step back and give up when faced with challenges. While promoting his new book, Power Grab, Morris, a former advisor to Bill Clinton, said Obama's policies on immigration and voting laws are an effort to put Democrats in control of the federal government. The real goal, I believe, is to make sure the Democratic Party is permanently in power, just as it is in California and statewide in New York, where Republicans are really an afterthought and can never really win an election, he said. So there's a lot of infighting going on. That's enough of that.
Man, and since it's close to the election, they're doing everything Republican, Democrat. There's another, division and
Oh yeah. Well, we can't play the it's a video, so we can't play videos. So there is an ad that blames GOP cuts for Ebola outbreak. So from the Democrats, it says the Agenda Project is a progressive non-profit political organization founded in 2010 by author Erica Payne. This ad that she put out features clips of Mitch McConnell, Pat Roberts, and many other Republicans, implies the austerity cuts to the CDC and the NIH are responsible for the 2014 Ebola outbreak. This ad, run in Kentucky and other states, is leading up to the election, so that it looks pretty stupid.
Right, and people who follow their party to the letter believe this stuff.
Oh, yeah, with unwavering diligence too. It's really quite sick.
Wow.
Really quite sick.
Yeah, try and make it, oh, their fault. And and what is Obama doing? What what did he say since that new case? I mean, first he comes in and says, "Don't fear, it will not come to this country. We don't have no worries about that."
Oh, yeah.
Guess what? It's been here, dude,
right.
for a couple of weeks. Where have you been?
Right.
On the golf course?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the only thing he ever says is, well, we don't have to fear it here because it won't come here, or we can handle it, or, when all around him is showing, that CDC doesn't know what to do. They're all confused and can't seem to come to any decision on anything.
No, and here's the perfect example of that. I'm gonna keep talking about the Ebola guys. I'm sorry, but this illustrates
a big issue.
This illustrates that perfectly. They can't freaking make their mind up about anything. It says, unlike in Spain, Dallas Ebola patient's dog will be saved. So in Dallas, the healthcare worker who tested positive for Ebola has a dog. But the mayor of Dallas says, unlike in a recent Spanish case, the dog will be kept safe for the eventual reunion with its owner. Mayor Mike Rawlings told USA Today that the dog remained in the healthcare worker's apartment when she was hospitalized and will soon be sent to a new location to await its owner's recovery. But there are no plans to euthanize the dog, he said. This is a new twist. Rawlings said the dog's very important to the patient and we want it to be safe. There are no immediate details on the name or type of dog. So the healthcare worker that got sick, that dog is going to be saved.
Because they killed the one in Spain. But has there been any information on animals?
Yeah, Jules read it. Jules read it. Yeah, she absolutely read that. That yes, I mean, if you get droplets that you pet your dog and you're sweating, you're sweating profusely.
Carriers.
Yeah, it stays on their fur, and somebody else touches that dog. I mean, that's it. That's all it takes. I mean, that's middle or elementary school logic, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Dog goes outside, I mean, kid
Yeah.
brings it in on its feet. I mean, yeah.
Wow.
Um, so there we are. I'm not going to read the rest of it because I don't need to.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. We're still where we were in the beginning of the show. Is it real or is it not real?
Right. Doesn't it just seem like that's the deal? Like it, like the lines are becoming increasingly blurred with
Hmm.
that question.
It is.
I want to know what happened to everybody in that guy's apartment. Where in the hell are they right now? Are
Well,
they
I
are
did
they
read it.
exhibiting simple
I
symptoms?
did. I did read an article where they do have them in quarantine, but they don't say where or
They're
who.
supposed to be in their apartment, right? That's the
No,
last I knew.
they said when was that article? It must have been last Friday. But I don't think they're in their apartment anymore.
I have
But I
no
don't know. It
idea.
just shows those guys they're cleaning up, but
Yeah,
it really didn't say where the people are.
I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard one freaking word about it. And what
Mm.
about the sheriff deputy that was sick? Whatever happened to that? I mean, there's all kinds of these weird questions, but the only thing we're hearing about is this freaking healthcare worker? What the hell?
Right. And those deputies were in there in close contact with the man. And how about the ambulance drivers? Are they still
Exactly.
working?
Exactly. The guy puked in the ambulance on the way there.
And they
But
didn't clean
this
it for 2-3 days?
right, well, that's not true. I'm sure they cleaned it up, but
I mean, sanitize it.
they didn't use any gear, any protective gear when they were doing it. I'm sure it was just their standard gloves.
Right. And the guy, that homeless guy, they went and picked up and then took him away.
Yeah.
The one
Yeah,
that was
where
the
did they
first one.
take that guy? What the fuck's going on around here? Are they just disappearing people quietly into the night
Saying that they're taking them here or there, but you
and
don't hear nothing.
refusing to say that they all have Ebola? I mean, they're probably keeping this shit quiet because
Okay,
they
now,
want to
and
create panic,
okay,
right?
what gets me about the nurse, that the first one to get it, he had only been in, excuse me, she had only had contact with him for a few days. I thought I had a 21-day incubation period where it was only a few days, but
Yeah,
she was showing symptoms.
exactly. It was only a matter of 2, 3 days for her. That's another question I have. What the fuck is up with that? If there's up to a
There's a
20
21
day
day, right?
incubation period, I mean, okay, so here's another fucking scenario. If his immediate family members that were in the apartment with him are not sick and not showing signs, that means that they could still be carrying the virus even if they don't show any symptoms.
Hmm. But I mean, they're cutting the incubation time down to a week.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
you don't hear
Perhaps
that anywhere.
perhaps it's because it's mutated several hundred times.
Or maybe she doesn't have it at all.
or right, this whole damn thing has been totally staged.
Hmm.
That is a distinct possibility. I mean,
Right, because they
I
need.
I have a feeling though that the opposite is true. I think that it's so fucking bad that they're being very secretive about it, and I think that by the time it gets very obvious to everybody, when the cat's out of the bag, it's going to be too fucking late to do anything because they've allowed it to spread so bad that
But
there's
what
nothing
about the
anybody
guy
can
who
do.
said we need another event like Pearl Harbor,
Well,
or something big? And we've all been kind of watching out for some false flag,
that's right.
to get people scared again. Because 9/11, people are really starting to ask real questions, and they are panicking. And what now? This took everybody's mind off of 9/11.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, well, those 28 pages, right?
Hmm.
It's 28 redacted pages.
This is
And it took everybody's mind off of Benghazi. It took everybody's mind
uh-huh.
off the IRS gate. So this is Obama's Ebola gate.
Yeah, huh? Because all these other things have gone to the back of the room,
Right.
and
So we can
nobody's look.
start calling this Ebola gate. Because
That's
let's
a good
just
one.
add it to another freaking gate because now it's the CDC.
And
So he's basically got every single alphabet soup agency involved in his we'll call it fuck up gate. We'll call
mhm.
it the whole thing. We gotta make one big umbrella for all these gates that have been wide open underneath and he should have been impeached a long time ago. He should have been impeached on Solyndra. He should have been impeached on all this little stuff. And I mean, so he's I don't know.
Right. So
It's
there's so many scandals, and each one gets its allotted amount of time as headlines. Then it kind of just trickles away, and we have the next one. It gets its
Mhm.
allotted time. It just trickles away, and then we have another one. Well, now we have too many back there. People might be looking back on them, so let's give them something to really worry about,
Right, there you go.
like a pandemic.
Like a pandemic.
And isn't it curious? This is what I find so curious about it. Ever since H1N1, ever since Homeland Security, all these agencies were brought into being because of fear of a pandemic. And yet, when a pandemic hits, nobody is prepared and nobody knows what to do and nobody knows what anyone else is doing.
Right. And right as you say that, I have a very nice article that goes right along with that. Except
Oh,
that
good. I'm just trying to prep you up.
it's perfect. Yeah, you
All
just
right.
did too. So it says U.S. lacks a single standard for Ebola response. Um, out of Atlanta, it says as Thomas Eric Duncan's family mourns the USA's first Ebola death in Dallas. One question reverberates over a series of apparent missteps in the case. Who is in charge? Who is in charge of the response to Ebola? The answer seems to be there really isn't one person, or it really isn't one person or agency. There's not a single national response. The Atlanta-based Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has emerged as the standard bearer and sometimes the scapegoat on Ebola. Public health is the preview of the states, and as the nation anticipates more Ebola cases, some experts say that the United States handles public health is not up to the challenge. Wow, do you think? One of the things we have to understand is the federal, state, and local health public health relationships, says Michael Olstrom, director for the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota. Public health is inherently a state issue. The state really is in charge of public health at the state and local level. It's a constitutional issue. The CDC can't just walk in on these cases. They have to be invited in. So that's an
Bullshit.
interesting.
I call bullshit.
Hang on. The CDC deployed a team of 10, 3 senior epidemiologists, a communications officer, and a public health advisor, and 5 epidemic intelligence officers, or, quote, disease detectives, unquote. Really? Disease detective. Boy, these guys have fancy ass names and they don't do shit, huh? All right, to Dallas. All right, they invited all these people from the CDC to Dallas on the night of September 30th, hours after the agency announced that Duncan, a librarian national who traveled to Dallas, that the Ebola virus. The next afternoon, Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins, head of the Dallas County Office for Homeland Security and Emergency Management, CDC Director Tom Frieden, and David Lasky, Commissioner of the Texas Department of State Health Services, agreed during a conference to set up emergency an emergency operations center in Dallas County with Jenkins in charge. The OEC was staffed by officials from Dallas County. In the city of Dallas, the CDC, the county and state health departments, and the Dallas County Sheriff's Department, among others. Yeah, it was they were the ones that sent those poor deputies into that guy's apartment.
Right.
Unbelievable. This team was the team that made decisions on matters such as isolating people who had been in contact with Duncan, including his fiancée, Louise Torr, her teenage son, and two other female relatives. Because they were not sick, they couldn't technically be quarantined, Jenkins said Friday. Instead, Lackley issued a control order to keep them at home where they could be monitored for signs of Ebola. Jenkins and Texas Governor Rick Perry agreed to the order.
So they weren't put in quarantine.
Huh?
So they weren't put in quarantine. You were right.
Texas officials were criticized for keeping the family inside the apartment where Duncan first showed signs of the disease, potentially exposing them to the virus. The family worried about Duncan's soiled sheets and other waste in the apartment. The response team located a private home where the family could move and got permits to clean the apartment and truck 140 55-gallon barrels of waste to an incinerator 400 miles away. 140 55-gallon barrels of waste?
Probably all their clothes and all that. But what, they found a home where they could take them, but everyone else in the apartment building got to stay?
Jenkins, let me keep reading.
Okay.
Jenkins says he has a working model for how to respond to Ebola cases. Others aren't so confident. In Texas, they really were slow to the plate, said Robert Murphy, director for the Center for Global Health at Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine. What the hell? Texas is going to be the example of what not to do. Duncan, who arrived in Dallas September 20th, somehow slipped through a Liberian airport screening process that allowed him into the country. He became ill several days later and went to the emergency room at the Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital. September 25th, he was prescribed antibiotics, which spread any kind of disease. Antibiotics, people, you don't want to take that if you've got some kind of a virus, because it will spread the virus. Okay.
Right.
All right. He was prescribed antibiotics, told to take Tylenol, and sent home early the morning of September 26th. According to medical records provided to the Associated Press by Duncan's family, his temperature spiked at 103 degrees during the visit.
So his fever was going up while he was in the emergency room.
Yeah, it was 103 degrees. Duncan told the nurse that he had recently been in Africa, and he showed symptoms that can indicate Ebola: fever, sharp headache, and abdominal pain. He was given a battery of tests and sent to his sister's apartment with antibiotics, which spread the disease. He returned by ambulance September 28th, was admitted to the hospital, and placed in isolation on September 30th. The CDC confirmed that he had Ebola. They have such a nice, tight timeline, don't they?
Well, you know what? Now look at
bullshit.
If you've ever been in an emergency room, and they always take you into the emergency room where you are exposing everybody you could.
I used to work in an emergency room for 2 years.
Right. Now, everyone in that emergency room, when he came back and when they brought him back in the ambulance, were exposed.
Yeah, so where in the hell are all these people? Have they contacted everybody who was in that emergency room? No. Have they? What about the workers that were in the emergency room? What about the doctors that took care of him? Those people, if he was exhibiting 103 degree temperature,
that's when you spread infection.
But what about the person who cleaned the freaking sheets between patients? What about the person who wiped down the bed after taking the sheets off?
And when you're in an emergency room and you're in that bed in there in your little cubby hole, how many people come in and see you?
Guys,
A lot
where
of them.
are all these people? They should all be sick by now.
Especially if the nurse is already sick. This is getting weird.
It is. It's getting. Something is wrong in fucking Denmark right now.
How much did they pay the nurse to say she was sick? You know?
I don't know. There should be. I was thinking, you know, 10 days ago now, that in 10 days we're going to start seeing loads of people being like sick, and it's going to spread. But
we're not seeing anything. But that nurse
doesn't mean it's not happening though, because they're not reporting it. It doesn't mean that it's not happening. You know what I mean?
But that's true. But you know,
be purposely not saying anything to not create panic.
Yeah, I don't know. 2 cases, and then they came in, and then the days be right before she got sick, within 5 days of him dying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but she treated him a few days before he died, but still, that's not 21 days. So she got sick within. Okay, let's give it 10 days. So you're right, and nobody else is. You know, they should start seeing quite a few people in emergency rooms in that area, and they're not.
Nothing. There's nothing. There's just this one lady. All right. So Murphy says some of the issues in Texas stem from a, quote, system problem, unquote, in the way public health care is managed in the USA. Really? You think so? There's a system problem? I think so. The Centers for Disease Control provides only guidance for infection prevention and management. What they will do in Texas, what they do in Illinois is up to the state, he says. The question is who's in charge, Murphy says. The states can follow all the guidelines and take the advice, which they usually do, but they don't have to. It's not a legal requirement. So there really is no one entity that is controlling things. Through the CDC, through the CDC is tasked with readying the nation for an Ebola outbreak, then leading the national response, the Department of Homeland Security is responsible for protecting the borders, okay, according to Thomas Skinner, spokesman for the CDC, which is under the auspices of the Department of Health and Human Services. The CDC, why don't we just like scrap all these fucking alphabets? Screw these bastards. Let's get rid of all of them. All right, the CDC collaborates with health departments and laboratories around the USA to make sure that they are able to test for Ebola and respond rapidly if there's a case in their state, the CDC spokeswoman Kristen Norland said. The agency is working to educate U.S. healthcare workers on how to isolate patients and protect themselves from infection. It developed a web-based document that identifies rapidly emergency CDC guidelines for Ebola applicable to public health preparedness, national standards for the state and local planning. The agency developed an introductory training course, albeit too late, for licensed clinicians who intended to work in Ebola treatment units in Africa, and at any given time, it has 300 to 500 people working at CDC headquarters to support its Ebola response. Homeland Security is focused on protecting the air traveling public and is taking steps to ensure that passengers with communicable diseases are screened, isolated, and publicly and quickly and safely referred to medical personnel. That includes issuing do not board orders to airlines if the CDC and State Department determine that a passenger is at risk to the traveling public, providing information and guidance about Ebola to the airlines, posting notices at airports to raise awareness about Ebola, and providing health notice called a care sheet to travelers entering the USA that have not traveled from or through the affected countries. Now, if we remember, guys, don't you remember when this crap first broke out in like Sierra Leone, where they were running around with these stupid like pamphlets with like cartoon drawings about Ebola and what to do about it, and there was really no words, just stick figures on there. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, they ran around patching, and then they came out with the Ebola song, the African Ebola song. If you just Google that, you can get it. Um,
Yeah, I just posted a place. It's on Oath Keepers where you can go in. They have a form where you can fill it out, and they will give you how to contact your leadership in your state and ask them what they are doing in preparation for Ebola outbreak in your state. See if they have anything
why do you
put
have to have a
together.
form to ask them
Well,
that
if you don't know who is, a lot of people don't know how to contact their leadership.
Oh,
I mean, I have them all listed, but this will give you their name, and it might even, I didn't go through it completely, but it might even give you a direct email to them. But everyone should be asking their state representatives what they're doing in your state in case a case comes up there. Are they doing anything other than Connecticut giving martial law? But are they planning on doing that? We need to ask these questions.
all right. Let me continue with this.
Okay.
Let's see. In addition, Health and Human Services has the authority to suspend the entry of persons into the USA based on outbreaks of disease in other countries and when necessary to protect public health. So it's the Health and Human Services job to shut down the airports, apparently, according to this. Screening has started Saturday at JFK Airport in New York. Medical workers will take the temperature of airline passengers originating from Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. What? And
Well, they
Customs
just
and Border.
said they might have a case going from Kennedy to LAX.
Yeah, exactly. Customs and Border Protection staffers will ask questions. Oh yeah, about their possible exposure. Those suspected with possible Ebola exposure will be referred to a CDC public health officers for additional screening. The testing will expand in the next few days to 4 more airports: Washington Dulles, Newark, Chicago's O'Hare, and Atlanta's Hartford-Jackson airports. Olstrom and Murphy say that the nation's public health system leaves room for a broad array of Ebola responses from state to state. We have to have more clarity, Olstrom says. We have to have a level of excellence. If that means putting the CDC in charge of these departments of public health, that means we have to find a way to do that. Interesting. We have the agreements between the states and the CDC. We can't leave it up to the whims of the state to do it or not to do it. He acknowledges that no one has called for such a change. Not yet, he says, but we need it. We need it, though. Texas is an example of how not to do it. So, in other words, this guy is calling for federalization of all of the states. So, when they do that, though, that is going to be the dangerous step right there, and this guy is calling for it. So,
Well, one article will say CDC has all the power to
right.
do it, and then now they're saying, well, they have to be invited. Excuse me, but which is true? They don't even know, it seems.
Well, that's the thing. They want to put out confusion as much as possible. So I just read it. States have the authority solely, and apparently the Department of Public fucking Health has the authority to close down the airports. So
The president can't do it, huh?
apparently
Yeah,
not.
nobody knows what anybody is doing, period.
Right. And what's worse is that the American people don't know what anybody's doing either. So that's it's gonna come and bite us in the ass. I'm telling you, I'm done talking about this shit.
Wow. It's just, yeah. because all it does is raise more questions and more questions and more
Yeah,
questions.
absolutely. We're going to be questioning what? Hang on a minute. I'm just kind of looking at stuff. Oh, great. I guess Ebola threatens chocolate. Great. Ebola threatens the world cocoa supply. It's the Ivory Coast, the world's largest producer of cacao, the raw ingredient in chocolate, has shut down its borders with Liberia and Guinea, putting a major crimp on the workforce needed to pick beans that end up in chocolate bars and other treats, Snickers, Butterfingers, just as the harvest season and Halloween begins. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, we're gonna have our kids out there going house to house.
Treating for a bowl of chocolate. Yay! Oh, God, look at this. I found another little stone that I unturned. I wish I hadn't looked at this, because chocolate is like one of my favorite things. The West African nation of about 20 million, also known as Cote d'Ivoire, whatever that is, has yet to experience a single case of Ebola, but the outbreak could raise prices. The world's chocolate makers have taken notice. The World Cocoa Foundation is working to protect large donations from Nestle, Mars, and many of its 113 members for its cocoa industry response to the Ebola initiative. The initiative hasn't been publicly unveiled, but the WCF plans to announce details Wednesday during its annual meeting in Copenhagen, Denmark, on how the money will fuel, how the money will fuel Red Cross and Caritas International's work to help the infected and staunch Ebola spread. So yay, the Red Cross. Oh boy, here we go.
Oh boy, here comes money. Well, money had to be down there involved in this.
Oh, you know it. And here's the chocolate industry moguls feeding into it. Morristown, New Jersey based Transmar Group, an international cocoa supplier, has already pledged 100,000, and Mars has indicated its support too. I don't eat that garbage chocolate myself. As a member of the WCF and a supporter of the Cocoa Action Strategy, Mars is pleased to see the industry coming together to help organizations on the ground in the prevention and eradication of the Ebola virus. Oh, isn't that wonderful? You make me feel so much better.
So they're going to protect our candy bars.
Yeah. I don't know about that. The company said in a statement provided to Politico, "We look forward to the WCF partnership meeting in Copenhagen next week, where we will learn more about the industry effort. Ivory Coast, which produces about 1.6 metric tons of cacao beans per year, roughly 33% of the world's total, according to the data from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, closed its borders in August to Guinea and Liberia." Only in August? Wow. More than 8,000 have been diagnosed with Ebola, and nearly 4,000 have died in those two countries and Sierra Leone. The numbers are a hell of a lot more than that, I'm sure. Next to the Ivory Coast is Ghana, the world's third largest supplier of cacao beans. 15% of the world's total. So that's interesting. Tim McCoy, a senior advisor at the WCF, said signs that the Ivory Coast residents already are concerned were immediately obvious during this last trip to the country in September. going into meetings where you always shake hands, and oftentimes with men and women you do the cheek kiss thing. They weren't doing that. He said the market is worried too. Prices on cocoa futures jumped from their normal trading range of 2,000 to $2,700 per ton, as high as $3,400 in September, over concerns about the spread of Ebola to coat whatever. Let's see. Noted Jack Scottsville, an analyst and vice president at the Chicago-based Price Futures Group. Since then, prices have yo-yoed down to 3,030, then back to 3,155 in the past couple of weeks. So that's kind of interesting there, I think. Boy,
Wow.
you should have been invested in cocoa. You'd be making bank right now like some of these assholes are. All right. We've talked about Ebola the whole damn show.
Wow.
There was over the weekend a typhoon hit Japan pretty hard.
Yeah, I am Becky. I'm not understanding what you're saying. It would be neat if you could call in, because she's stating here, in 2 weeks there will be a court order out on her if her blood work does not show melformin.
What are you saying?
Why?
I don't understand. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't quite understand a court order if her blood. I mean, I'm confused.
Yeah, that's why I don't pay attention to the chat room.
But yeah, I don't know. Strange things are going to start happening, people. Keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
You know, and
absolutely.
And I would, call your congressman or your representative and ask if they are doing anything in your state, or if they are prepared to do anything if an Ebola case shows up in your state. Who's in charge? Make them give you answers.
Absolutely.
I'm going to.
Good Lord, there's only 10 minutes left. 12 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, so at the beginning of the show, we were confused as to if it's real or not, and guess what? We're still confused if it's real or not.
Exactly. We haven't really answered that question.
But we did give a lot of information to build an answer.
Except hopefully. Now you got to watch out for chocolate and Halloween.
Yeah, don't buy that candy bar.
Don't let your kids eat the chocolate. And Halloween. Oh, it's so wonderful.
I'm making apple butter. I've had apples cooking all night in my crock pot. I've never made apple butter before, so. I mean, I'm trying to think of ways. I have 3 apple trees, and I don't like to waste food. I'm out there every day pulling more apples off and trying to figure out different things to can with apples.
So, with a drought situation, are they like really bitter tasting?
No, it's amazing. And pecans, lots of pecans.
Really?
And yeah. And my friend has a tree. I didn't believe him because pecans are real hard to get out of the shell. And he brought me over these ones that are called eggshell pecans. And they come out of the shell whole real easy. I got 4 jars of those canned already.
Wow.
Yeah. But apples, anybody want apples that live near me, come get them.
Wow.
Yeah. But they taste really good, and they're sweet.
Really?
Yeah. And in a drought, I don't water the field anyway. Apples just grow off the trees. I never water my field out there's way too big. Take a lot of water. But it's all green and pretty just from 2 days rain. It's all still real green out there.
Interesting.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
I mean, you would think that it would go back to its brown state if there hasn't been rain since. How long ago was that?
It was last week.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, the day before it rained, it's like straw out there. It's all completely
brown,
dead. Yes, and 2 days after the rain, all of a sudden I went to and I went, wow, it's green and it's beautiful, but it's still green and no more water's hit it.
Wow.
So, so that says that the roots must have water down below there for them and for the apple trees to be going. There must be a lot of water under there. Our water, what do they call it? Water table.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I don't know. And with all these chemtrails, you'd think we'd have some rain.
You would think. Huh.
But I don't know. And I'm telling you, it's always been an indication of a heavy, heavy winter with lots of rain and snow when you get an overabundance of, what are they? I forget. They come off oak trees. Acorns.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, every single morning I have to clean off at least 2 inches thick of acorns off my deck.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long does that last for?
It has been going on for over a week now. I mean, you drive my driveway and all you hear is crunch, 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 crunch. I mean, it's brown, everything around. And I have a huge oak tree. But I mean, it's dangerous to go outside. My roommate got hit in the head with one that made a big old bump. Jeez. And my other friend got hit with one and they actually cut his skin. And it's puncturing my aloe vera plants because they come down with a force all night long. Bang, 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 bang on my roof.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's weird. Maybe we will get rain. I don't know. But that's always been an indication. And you look in the Farmer's Almanac and they always say if you get, because every 3 or 4 years we would get this. And then it would go back to normal where there's a few. But yeah, so I'll keep my fingers crossed.
So it usually means that lots of acorns means moisture in the.
Yep, it means a lot of rain. And I was going back in the Farmer's Almanac because I was wondering because we haven't had a lot like this in about 4 years.
Uh-huh.
And that's since the drought started. And this is the first year that since then that we've gotten just an overabundance. And all the almanacs that I've gone through, and I used to collect them all the time. Every one of them said it's an indication of a heavy winter with lots of rain and snow.
Interesting. Well, I'm crossing my fingers.
Me too. I'm just hoping, and if it doesn't come about, then there's something really strange. All of a sudden, something that has always happened stops.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyway, that was my distraction. Yeah, I mean, I have a cute little article here, though. We're worried about drought and all, but then here we go. California police field reports of creepy clowns. People are saying reports of creepy clowns carrying knives and other weapons have been scaring people in the California city of Bakersfield for the past week, police said on Sunday. The last incident, a person telephoned the Bakersfield Police Department on Saturday night reporting a clown armed with a firearm said, "Watch Commander Lieutenant Jason Matson. We've been having sightings all over the city," Matson says. They range anywhere from a guy carrying a gun to a guy carrying a knife running up to houses. So we got a clown attack here. And not too long ago, wasn't it in New York where they had a clown that was standing on a corner watching people go by and everybody was freaking out?
I don't know about that. It
was somewhere, but yeah. And they weren't doing anything. They were just standing there. But, a lot of people have a fear of clowns. They could be creepy. They were just clowning around, Jack says, yeah. Well, believe me, the police can find a reason to arrest them for it, though, I'm sure. But, even if they don't have weapons.
Just wait till they shoot their first clown.
Yeah, people get scared and shoot them.
I mean the cops.
Oh, yeah. I was just trying to make people happy. Bang, bang, bang. We can't have that.
Right.
Oh, wow. We're coming down to the end of the show.
Can't believe it. Well, we talked about Ebola the entire show. Yikes.
Yeah. Well, here's a little
Sorry,
something.
guys.
Well, not really. I mean, this stuff needs to be out, especially about, Connecticut. And then all the contradicting, things out there. Why are they doing it? We need to go into that,
That Connecticut Declaration's a big deal.
It really, really is. That's why it's important to see what your state reps have in store for you guys, because they got to be talking about it or thinking about it.
Just go online and find out, like, your department, whatever state you're at, your Department for Public Health policies on this stuff. I'm sure just
see if they're preparing for it.
Right.
Tell them you want answers. You want to know, are they prepared? Are they doing anything to get in preparation? Does anyone know what they're doing?
I'd say the answer would be no.
That's what I'd be afraid of. But then I would want to know why, put them on the spot. But then, too, it could make them start thinking about what Connecticut did.
Right.
We don't want to put ideas in their head either, though. But
exactly. Yeah, my dog is coughing.
Oh, no. Poor thing.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's this time last year I had to put my last dog down, too.
I know. I had to put my cat down a couple years ago, and I still mourn him, I mean. So, yeah. I hope not.
All right, guys. Yeah. So, I guess we're at the end of the show.
What's coming up?
Oh, what is coming up here on UCY.TV? We've got The Edge with John Stokes and the Jack Blood Show. And then we've got, at 9 is Truth on the Tracks with Brandon Turvaville. He's always got a great show. It's Monday night, guys. I know I don't sound too enthused, but I'm trying.
Been a rough show.
Yeah, it's been a rough show. So at 10 is United Front Radio with Danielle and Kyle, and then 11 is Anti-Media Radio with Nick Burnaby. So stay tuned to UCY.TV for hopefully more upbeat programming than what we've done here today. Jeez. I know I'm sounding like it's a big drag and everything, but this stuff kind of weighs on you. You know what I mean?
It does, but it has to be talked about because people got to start thinking about it and keeping it up front in their minds and start preparing. Right. Even if it is a false flag, you'll know how prepared you are for it.
Right. You'll have the stuff. You'll have it in case you ever need it, even if this is a big freaking hoax or whatever. At least, you can do something about it,
Right. Get prepared. Do you have food stored? Do you have water in your house? What if you get quarantined to your home? Do you have what it takes to hold, continue living for a week or two? Have a great day, guys.
Ooh, that's like sped up at 98 speed. Have a good day, everybody.